Electronic symbols. Alright, so these are showing you different types of components. They may look like squiggly lines, straight lines, little all kinds of dashes and stuff, but they all have meaning. So these are showing you different types of symbols. We're trying to cover some of them as we go through. But this is the symbol world for writing diagrams and circuits before actually creating the circuit, and also for doing calculations. Okay, so these are a little more advanced. We got some diodes, capacitor, inductor, resistors, the power supply, an AC voltage source. But on the other side, we've got an AND gate, OR gate, NOR gate, XOR gate, inverter, not a gate. So these all look funny, right? But the thing is, when you're dealing with electronics and you're building circuits in electronics, you're going to need logic. And these are different types of gate to allow flow in or not to allow flow in. All these are different things. Inverters, all these are more advanced things. But I only put in so at least you're familiar when you see diagrams and you see it, you know what that is. Alright, these are getting back to our simple stuff because we're only doing basic electronics. We're not doing advanced. But this one here, as you see from the left going to the right, this is a battery, which is your line. We've got a long line, like they basically look like a T shape. There's a long T parallel to a short T. This is for, they mark cell or for power source. Next one, a circle with an X represents a lamp, and two lines and two little bubble on a line across that's not connected is a switch. When the line goes straight down, then it means the switch is on. When the line's up, it's off. On a long line, which represents wire, cable. Alright, so as you see, we're sheep here turning our switch on. Same thing I mentioned, we've got basically open switches. They could be just a solid on the top left, two solid dots on the bottom. We have the circle, and this is a push. Underneath that is a push switch, right? These are the ones. A push switch is usually like a T, two circles at the bottom with lines going to left and right, and like a T shape upside down is a push switch. The rest are just regular switches that you turn or slide across. Alright, so the A represents amp meter, V, the circle with the V inside, voltmeter. So these are just representing meters. Okay, so these ones are basically are resistors. On the left is just resistor, the red showing the power going through the resistor. Now, on the right, when you've got a resistor, it looks like a jaggy line on an arrow through it means it's a variable resistor. So it's a variable resistor. And if you see the bottom just shows the circuit with RC, the resistor, going to a C, which is a cell. Alright, there's LEDs. You got clear LEDs, blue ones, red ones, green ones, all kinds of different colors, even orange one or so. So this is just showing the circuit on it. So it's basically, it's got the positive, it's got the triangle, and then a line, a T shape coming to it. So this is basically the diagram for LED. Alright, these are lamps. Lamps is just a light bulb. You've got the round circle with an X in it, or you may see a little bump, a circle with a bump in it, and sometimes I've seen it with two bumps inside, like a coil inside. So these all represent a symbol for a light. Alright, these are diodes. Okay, so diodes, we have basically, there's some different types here. They've got the triangle with the T. It looks like an arrow with the T on it. So, and then there's one that has a little hook at the end of it here. That's diode symbols. Alright, so these are capacitors. So we have the plane, like two T's, and then we have the circle, and then the one with the two T's and an arrow through it. That means it's basically a variable capacitor. We also look at the bottom left. We've got a diagram and a circuit of C1, C2, and Cn. So these are like three capacitor and all three capacitors are in parallel to each other. Alright, this is battery source. So we got the battery. Battery is like two T's, one T bigger than the other. Sometimes they mark, the bigger one is usually the positive, small one is the negative. So we can see this. And if we look at the very bottom right, electricity, the plug-in, a guy being electrocuted in the triangle, but next to it is a ground symbol. So you've got one T, right, a long T, and then two dashes underneath. That represents ground. Alright, so this is basically a circuit. So you could actually draw out your circuits before creating them, putting them together in your actual visual demonstration. So for example, let's look at this. We have the big T and a small t in the top, that's the cell. Our cable is running all the way around to our round circle with our X through it, our lamp, going all the way around to our switch. So the switch has either two circles, and the lines, as you see the lines on a slant and it's not touching, that means the switch is off. When it's on, the line goes straight and continues the circuit, and it goes all the way to the back to the cell. So from the big T on the cell, positive, all the way through the system, goes to the negative to continue the circuit. So this is how you represent in a circuit diagram. Alright, this is just another circuit diagram, but we have V1, V2, and R resistor. That's just to give you an idea of another diagram. Alright, so these are two a little more involved circuits. The one on the left, so I mean you can see the cell, the power source, it goes through, it's a serial and a parallel circuit. The one on the right is a little more advanced than what we've seen so far. So it's going to show you capacitors inside, it shows diode inside, and all kinds of different things inside of this one. But what's kind of interesting in the middle center is the transistor. But it shows you some diagrams are so huge and complex, but once you recognize the system of the symbols, and basically it's all symbol representing components. So once you recognize all these, you'll be able to read the diagram and reconstruct the same electronic whatever project it is. You can create it yourself.